Here we go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Zagger-tastic stream. It is I, your friend, the one, the only, Z-A, single Gerd, Zaggard, and I hope you're all having a wonderful morning, noon, night, evening, whatever time it is for you today. Welcome back to the Dragon's Den, my friends, and it is another wonderful, fantastic Fantasy Fridays here in the Dragon's Den. Hello, all. I hope you're all having a good week. This will be the end of our week here together. However, we will be working on more of Midpoint together. Let me just turn the music down just a smidgen. A smidgen, pigeon. There we go. Now we can still hit it, but it's not like blasting. My cat scratched me right before we started the stream because I moved her from one spot to another, and she did not want that. But it's not up to her. It's up to me. I decide who sits where. I am the alpha fluff. So, chat, if you were in the Discord, go join the Discord, by the way, you will see there was an announcement made today. It's not a bad scratch. It's just, can you even see it? Just that little thing, that red line on my hand, that's the scratch. It's fresh. It'll be fine. So if you were in the Discord today, we posted a couple of questions in the announcements channel. And I'm trying to do that every Fantasy Friday or maybe a day before, within 24 hours, to let you guys start cooking those brain juices in your heads, in your noggins, the gray matter between your noggins. Try and get it like all up. And the three questions about Midpoint. It's always going to be about our current city that we are working on. So let's see. The first question was, what are the 5 factions that rule Midpoint? What are we going to name them? What are they like? Just what kind of thoughts did you guys have? Second question, who or what does the law enforcement answer to? We haven't had that answered yet. We have that in there, but we don't know who they are, what they're like, any of that stuff. And finally, how does the class system work? Is it like feudalism? Is it like, is it based on, we know that the most respected are the elders. So let us get into that. Hello, Yuki. How are you doing today? And we're gonna just stream Fantasy Friday for as long as we have people kind of watching, you know? I'm zoning. So let's see who is available to give us some answers. Well, people in chat, please try to participate in creation of Midpoint. Yes, Yuki, yes. We'd like as many people. Otherwise, we're going to have to, like, slow this series down. I do have some other content that I want to try today. There's a game that's gone early access that I want to try together. So let's start with probably the easiest one. What do we want the class system to be like? Because this is going to be like older times, so there's going to be more of a class system. Is it like hard set? Can you only stay in your lane, or can you actually move about it? Is this like was it India where it was like you were only allowed to go down, you were never allowed to go up? I know there was a country in history where even if you married a richer person, they went down, you didn't go up. Social mobility, poggers. We want to have social. Well, let's think about what would be interesting for the world, not necessarily what we would like. Because obviously, if it was what we like, all systems would have social mobility. You'd always have a possibility of going higher than you are. But we'll put social Social mobility. Liddy. Cack. I hate. That's the one thing I don't like about working this. As one, can only go down. Can never move. I throw out there that they do not allow people to move up, since there is such a to-do about the replacement for the sage. Well, that could be purely related to their leader. Interesting, Adelbows. Okay. Since we said age is commendable, you could at least have mobility with age. Oh, interesting. Okay. So we've got kind of some competing. So the way we've written this world, it looks like it has competing class system ability. Words, languages, things, English, I speak it. So we said we already have like, oh, we don't want the sage. But that might just be because in their religion, only men can be the sage. Or even, what do you call them? Like attendants to the sage. Kind of like how monks in Asia, only a man can truly be a monk, I believe. Let me look this up. Can monks be female? Okay, so they can't have female monks. I do know there was a religion, because I watched a documentary on it. That was that was a monastic tradition that said only men. No, maybe not only men can be monks, but it was like something like you would have to be reincarnated into a man first before you can do the final level of reincarnation or something like that. You could be more respected within your class. Okay, so age equals respect. Because we did say earlier, where was it? Here it is. That people are complimented on age. So clearly, age is important. And then we did say there is a bit of rigid. They are slightly rigid in their what you call it, in their social mobility. So maybe there's like slight possibility of social mobility, or maybe your social mobility can only move if you are older. Kind of like being an executive of a firm. The longer you work at a company, the higher chances of you getting promotion are the longer you work there. You know how like there's like junior partner and then senior partner. So how about I vote for that only with age idea? Expand on what you mean. I think I know what you're trying to say, but I'm not. What I said. Okay. Got it. Okay, then let's go with, let's see. So we go with a 5-year period, but that's kind of short. Or 10-year period. Let's say every decade you live. So children and elders are the most respected. Obviously. That one's clear. The reason why elders is because they've lived a long time. They have a lot of wisdom. They have a lot of experience. They can guide. Like a lot of the leaders will probably be elders, right? They guide the nation. Then there's children. Children are important because they are new. They are the future. They're just born. I repocted. Or maybe just elders. Elders are the most respected. Children are loved, but have no class. Right, when you're first born, you have no class. And so that gives you a certain mobility of you're allowed into certain areas. You have a chance to integrate into a class. But that also means you have no political power or financial power over anyone, which makes sense. You're a child. You're a children. A children wouldn't have power over an adulton. Right? Makes sense. But they're also not like hated. This isn't going to be like the Pilgrim times where if you steal, they cut your hand. Well, actually, maybe they will do that for adults. But for children, they'll be a little bit more lenient. You lose chances to join a class, so to speak. So, as you age, you can increase your status in society. I don't need to write in society, but what are ways? And then okay, so then what are ways besides age to increase your status? Because if aging is the only way, then survival of the fittest quickly becomes extremely important. So survival becomes very important very quickly, and there's going to be a lot of backstabbing. It's going to kind of be like chimpanzees in that sense, because chimpanzees, their whole society, so to speak, their social structure is based on biggest is strongest and biggest strongest is best. And, you know, you try to make alliances to beat up one who, to just beat up who's stronger than you or bigger than you. But then you can easily get backstabbed by the guy you joined. He joins with another person to beat you up. So they're on top of you. Like you're on top of the guy you beat up, but then your friend and his new friend are now on top of you. And that's just kind of how the social structure goes until you get to a prime age and you just beat up the biggest, oldest guy. And then you guys are on the top. Or the alphas, so to speak. Perhaps each individual latches on to an older mentor. So while it might be based on age, you are under the aegis of your... Ooh, interesting. Okay, so... having a mentor... or what is it called? Yeah, I guess a mentor. Having a mentor gives you some social, what's the word? My glasses got a little smudge. Damn it, I just touched it with my thumb as I was cleaning it. Some social status and protection under them. So, social status is tied to mentor. Okay, got it. Okay. So kind of like if you want to be the town blacksmith, right? And the blacksmith is super important because he's the only one who can fix all the tools, makes all the weapons and armors, right? Being one of his students gives you a portion of his social status. Now, you wouldn't be above any other main leader, like, let's say the lead farmers, right, or lead hunters. They'd still be above you, but you would have some power over other students of other mentors, right? Okay. Like an apprenticeship. That's the word I was looking for. Apprenticeship. Thank you. Holy squacamole. My brain got lost in the sauce. Okay. Let's see. And then, okay, so let's see, there's the master class, right? Highest in there. What do you call it? What's it called? Workmanship? No. What's the word for job? Not you know what I'm trying to say? A certain role is held in high regards than others. Profession. Highest in their professions. Social status. I guess certain professions would be more important. And since living longer, food would obviously be one of the most important. So let's say master class. Then there's the knowledge class. Or what's a better word for... I want to say intermediate class, but I want it to be more than just 3 levels. I want there to be like 5 or more levels. So obviously the lowest would be not newbie, but well, I'll just write newbie for now. Newbies, apprentice. I know I wrote that wrong, but I'm going to write initiate. I like initiate. So like initiates would be, they're not really actually learning at that point. They're still just kind of like gophers. They just collect materials, bring them. They make meals for the. They go and collect food, materials. They do basic chores around either the household or the shop for the place. Then apprenticeship is where you first start learning basic apprentice things. Like if you're apprenticing under, like, let's say a chef, you finally start learning some things like, how to clean the kitchen area, how to keep it clean, proper way to sanitize it, and then maybe they start teaching you how to look for like good fresh fish, healthy meats, riper vegetables and fruits, things like that. Then once you get past the level of apprentice, you become what's the word? I'm gonna look up a list from a game. Black Desert Online Profession levels. There we go. Then let's say you become a student, skilled, right? Skilled worker. This is the middle class where most people are. Oh, a slow bro appears. By the way, how loud does it sound now, chat? So like, yeah, let's go with skilled, right? Artisan sounds actually like really high. Then we'll go with professional. Art. I'm just copying this for now. Master. Then guru. Maybe not guru, but I like the idea. So let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7. Grandmaster could be an alternate. Yes, Grandmaster I actually like. And we could even say only one. There can only be one Grandmaster in each profession at a time. So there can only be like one Grandmaster chef. Just like Highlanders. Oh, was that a thing for Highlanders? Hey, you got the slow bro. Congratulations. By the way, do you guys see it on the screen when the Pokemon shows up? Just curious if I have to fix that for later. So let's see, masterclass, grandmaster class, artisan, professional, skilled, apprentice, and initiate. So initiate, lowest ranked in any all initiates, regardless of profession, are the lowest class. And actually, I'm going to add another lower class. So there's no class for children, which is like kind of its own side class. It does, you know. You initiate. Nice. Okay, glad to know it shows up on the screen still. The jobless class. Because society is so centered around survival in this desert, the jobless are seen as less than human. Neophyte, plebe. Kind of like neophyte. Sounds more mystical or fantasy. You know what I mean? Sounds less just like, they don't have a job. Those without jobs who are not of old age or children. Seen as subhuman. Hello, CC Bob. Welcome. Children are subhuman. Recipe for disaster. See, those without jobs who are not of old age or children. So if you are like 18 to, let's say, 50, you aren't old enough to know that show. So like, if you're 18 to 60 and you don't have a job, people look down on you. Doesn't matter, like, because you're not providing for anybody. You're just a waste on resources. And because of this, I like that cat paw, by the way. Only thing I don't like about this new chat thing is I can't mouse over and see a zoomed in version of the cat paw, but that's okay. I'll survive. Damn, you don't have to call me out like that. Is there a student class? I would say okay, so I would say initiate and apprentice are kind of the student classes because that's where you're learning the beginnings of your trades, right? What kind of world are we creating? Okay, right now, I'm trying. Let me answer Yuki first, and then I'll answer you, CC Bob. Okay, so if I'm not ignoring you, I'm just answering the first question. So an apprentice would be like the student class because that's where you're first learning the beginnings of whatever trade you're in, and then also on top of that, there's the what do you call them? The sages of the sand. Since those are the people who study history and such, they would be like the closest thing to students because their whole job is the job of study. So they would be like your professors, your students, so on and so forth. I'm going to put this in quotes. True rank. Where you begin learning the early stages of your profession. So we are creating right now. So this is called Midpoint, the city on the road to nowhere. It is a city on a mesa in a desert. The desert we even named the Deshret, the Crimson Wastes. It's a long stretch of land of red sand going as far as the eye can see. Originally settled by a bunch of traders hundreds of years ago. No one knows exactly when they were first settled here, except for one person in the entire area, and we'll get to them in a second. This place was settled by traders who were going to a place known as Nowhere, also known as the Promised Land. People in this area believe Nowhere will lead them to the Promised Land, which is a mystical land of milk, honey, fruits, and fields as far as the eye can see. And it has created a whole religion around it. Now, there is one person in this area who is revered above all else. He is their spiritual leader. He is known as the Prophet of the Sands. No, the Sage of the Sands. Sage of the Sands. And this person has all the knowledge of their history memorized. We haven't decided how they've memorized it. We're still answering that over here. But this person clearly has some mystical powers because they are able to get visions that are supposed to be able to lead people to nowhere. So there are people who do still leave this place to try and find nowhere. None return, or very few do. And there's a whole religion around it. And recently, in the history of our place, the Sage of the Sand died. And one of the reasons why the Sage of the Sand is so revered is because they revere those who can live for long periods of time. Those who are old are the most revered in their society. And the Sage of the Sand is usually the oldest person in society. On top of already being their spiritual leader, on top of holding all of their history and culture in either their mind or in a special vault that only they're allowed to access, the Sage of the Sand has all these things that they must keep track of throughout their life. And the Sage of the Sand recently died. And the reason they were killed, nobody knows. They know that they were murdered. Everybody knows that the Sage of the Sand was murdered. And he was murdered by by being bitten by a very poisonous snake in the area. So anyone could have used a snake, but the snake wouldn't have gotten there naturally. And we, creating this world, know how and why they did it. The reason they did it was because they were having trouble finding an apprentice to become the next Sage of the Sand. Every time one of the other leaders in the religion picked, they would all pick one person for their faction, and he would keep dismissing them because he didn't see the soul of the desert. Excuse me. Where did we write it? Yeah. He has to find. It is believed that the Sage of the Sand can only pick a child to succeed him when he finds someone who has the soul of the desert in them, and only he can see it. However, recently, he did find a child, but it wasn't a child picked by any of the nobility or the royal class, or anyone in the religion. He found them by himself walking through the streets, and there are two reasons why this has caused a major uproar. One, this child comes from a lower class family. Two, it is a young girl. Every Sage of the Sand throughout all of history has always been a man. And this has created a major prejudice against having women even be in this religious culture. So him picking a young girl threw things into chaos. And one of his attendants saw this and was like, no, you have defiled the soul of the desert. You have obviously been corrupted. You must die. And so he killed him. But nobody knows that he did it or why he did it. Question of the day. Which Pokemon type is your favorite? Whoa. I know. Chat worked on this together. Like, I came up with some ideas, but chat was the ones who finally came together and said, let's do this. It's just a cool way to do world building. I know, I love world building with people. It's so much fun. I hate doing it myself, because when I do it myself, it always, all the cities come out the same. They're always like, oh, money or so, I don't know. But doing it with people, we came up with like such a cool world. Twas a team effort. Twas. But right now we're trying to find out what exactly our class is. So I think we actually came up with a pretty good one. First, there's the neophytes, the lowest class, non-class. Though they are seen as subhuman. They don't do any work. They don't produce anything. They don't protect the nation. They don't do nothing. So they're subhuman. All right. Then there's children who are no class. These are children who have not found a profession yet. I can't spell, so if I misspell something, let me know. Ice type, I wonder why. Also, fairy type is cool. So you like Alolan Ninetales then? Who have not found their profession. And are given some freedom to do so. There are obviously going to be some professions that children cannot get just by being children. For starters, they will not become royalty. Obviously, royalty is still gonna. We could decide. Actually, do we even have royals? Profession as one F. God damn it. See, this is also important for me because this is where I learned to read and write. There's an age. Is there an age that is the age of initiation? That's a good question. Let's say, 15 to 16? Or 15 to 17. You get 2 years to try and find your profession. So let's see, from 0 to 14. 18 to 60. And let's say this starts at 18, generally. There have been cases where, so we can say there have been cases where people actually become apprentices much earlier in life. So yeah, let's say like for the first 2 years of your life, for these 2 years, you're allowed to find someone. If you do not find a profession by the time you are 18, oh, there's a basculin. If an issue is just doing gopher work, what if it started more like 10? Then around 13 you start learning the actual trade? Yeah, okay, that would make sense. In a region that needs resources, they would probably be fine with child labor. It might even be unnecessary. 15 years of not converting is a long time in less developed areas. That's true. That's a good point. Okay, I'm going to raise it up just by a couple of years, though. So let's say 12. Ooh, actually, now that I think about it, 12 is actually kind of a long time, too. Yeah, let's say 10. And then, what were we thinking? 13. So let's say 11 to, 13. No, let's actually go with 11 to 16. And then 16 is kind of a coming of age. Like you're finally an adult now. Around the age of 16, again, some get their apprenticeship earlier. Oh, unfortunate Yuki didn't catch the fishy. Just thinking my daughter's 13, she's pretty good at crafting things. It's a good point. I like that, Adolbos. Using real world knowledge. And also, I know that in the U.S. What is the working age? Curious. 14. Yeah, I was going to say 14, but I wasn't sure. So it makes sense. Even back then, they'd be like, around 14, you're probably doing something. Okay. Skilled is, let's say, around 25. You are in your profession to be known by and now have more to rise up based purely on skill. Are there different types of apprenticeship? I guess that might matter depending on the job itself. Yeah, it would depend on the job, I would say. So obviously in this world, knowledge keepers would probably be the highest ranking class. Like being part of the sages gives you a lot of sway, which is ironic because it actually produces the least amount of resources. But this is clearly a very religious or a very spiritual place. Professional, you can as early as 30 years old, you can now start your own business in your field and can or undercut competition. Artisan, well known throughout the Mesa. Generally takes 45 years plus to get to this level. You can also, let's see, a lot of social sway. Among those under you? No, let me see. Most people stop their social climb here. Masterclass. This is a great question. I don't know if I missed the answer. What was the question? Do you have the ability to move to a new profession or higher renown? If so, do they start over at initiate or possibly move down 1-2 tiers? I think we were saying that. Were we saying chat? Do you remember what we said about it? What is a life expectancy here? That's a good question. We haven't thought of that. Yeah, I did see Adelbose ask that. Hmm. Whew, these are... What do you guys think? So, okay, let's go with... Let's see. What would the... What is the average life expectancy? I know I spelled that wrong. In a country in the Middle Ages. Just say that. Oh, Jesus. Criminy. Never mind. Not reading all that. What would you guys think? I'm thinking, on average, people live to maybe 50. Maybe 60. How developed is the community on the Mesa? Well, it's a fantasy world, so there's not going to be a lot of technology. Temperature is going to be based on shade and water, at best. They do have a magic stone in the center of the mesa that constantly creates water, and they have Archimedes, what's it called? Archimedes screw to pull the water up. Average age in the Middle Ages were heavily skewed by child mortality, so now, yeah, that's why I didn't really look it up, because I was thinking that as I typed it. I think originally stated you didn't move to higher tier, you could just become better known in your own. There we go. You can just say people live until 140 if you want. It is fantasy. What is this? One Piece / Harry Potter? Historically, if you made it past childhood, you could probably make it to 60. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I want to go with the Harry Potter One Piece. You lived, average people live to 140 thing. Which, by the way, is the weirdest. I don't know why both Oda and J.K. Rowling were both like, just make them live to 140. What a random number. Just double 70. Yeah, and Harry Potter, canonically, wizards live to an average of 140. And in One Piece, the average human lives to 140. Yeah, the average is 140 lifespan. Which makes it even funnier if you look at the story of Harry Potter, because Voldemort died at 70 while trying to become immortal. So he didn't even live, he barely lived like, actually, what age did he, this weird tangent. Age when he died. 71. So he barely lived past the midlife crisis. Skill issue, lol. Yeah, this is a tangent, but I love this tangent in Harry Potter. Voldemort was obsessed with becoming immortal because he feared death over everything else. And in his obsession with becoming immortal, he got himself killed at the Middle Ages for a wizard because he became the most evil wizard ever and then put a huge target on his back. So if he had just not, if he had not just been like the worst person ever, he might have actually achieved some level of immortality. Unfortunately, there are only two real ways to achieve immortality. One was with the Philosopher's Stone, and it makes it so you don't age, but your body still gets weaker. And then there's Horcruxes, where you have to kill people, which is just, wow, that's terrible. Not the best dude around. No, really not. 'Cause they literally constantly call him the most evil wizard of all of history. All right, let's get this down. Average life. Average life I know I spelled that wrong. This is what I don't like about doing this in Excel. It doesn't tell me if I spelled things wrong. Random tangent. What age do people generally have kids? I think that would probably depend on the life expectancy, right? Because if you live for like 300 years, you'll probably have kids around like your mid 100s, like 150, right? If you live for 10 years, you'll probably have kids around 2. Okay. People can live 60 so long as they stay on the mesa. I say stay on the mesa because we've said like the Deshret is extremely dangerous. They're obviously magical creatures. It is a desert. There's less water. You know, 60 seems like a good base. Okay. Okay. Then if 60 is the average, then people would probably be having children probably in their late teens to early 20s. There's only one Grandmaster. Would they be roughly the same age as Masters, but just have more skill? I would say Grandmasters can be anywhere from 45, that's a 15, 45 to 60 plus. And gives the most social status and based on renown, skill, let's say renown and skill. Because if you're not well known, how do you become a grandmaster, so to speak, right? Route 20 sounds better than me. Still Monka, though. I mean, it's not that Monka, but it is unfortunate. That probably does slow your social climb, right? That means women probably get really screwed over in this society socially. Because imagine, like, at the end of your apprenticeship, you become pregnant, and then you have to start raising kids when you'd be a skilled worker. People generally give birth around early 20s. Thank you, Adelbos. My brain is like, renown. Doesn't matter. Does time move differently off the mesa, either slower or faster? I'm going to say no, because the most magical thing... Quillfish, by the way. The most magical thing will probably be... What would the most magical thing is probably the infinite water. Hey, I don't see the Mon on the screen. Big Sag. I'll have to fix that. Or maybe we don't put it on for these. The classic women's struggle in a society. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense in a society that would need children. They would both be respected for giving children, but also almost required for having children. Because there's no other way to increase the population. Literally. So let's say women are also very respected. Women are respected, but they have a hard time rising up in class. You know, women are respected, but only if they raise children. What happens if they don't? Then women who don't have children can. Well, I actually like this idea. Women can have a profession. Had the same question. Let's say mothers. To separate it. Around. But are stuck in the social class of skilled worker. So this gives you like a dichotomy, or this gives you like the choice, like, okay, I could become a mother, and I could always, so long as I have children, my children survive. Because if your children die, there's, you know, it's like, you immediately get the social class of skilled worker, but you also can't go up or down. Except when you get to old age, then at old age you have, you'd be around artisan. Yeah. 60 plus. Oh. Is there retirement, or do people work until they cannot work anymore? I would assume at older ages you become, if you're not a grandmaster or master, actually they get their own class. Professor class. / teacher class. So you retire and then you become a, here, I'm gonna move this over. Oops. You retire from the main work pool and you become mainly a teacher. And it's not above Grandmaster or Master. And I'll actually move these so that way. Right. Teacher for children. Yeah, they teach children and initiates and apprentices mostly. Mostly teach children and apprentices. Fix that later. And then the women thing is like, you can either become a mother and you're stuck in this kind of middle position, or you could be like any man and you focus on this. You choose, it's either motherhood or profession. That's how this society works. As a professor teacher class, could they maintain the highest tier that they reached before? I would say they immediately kind of, the way I was thinking is they once they retire and they go to this class, they are raised to a class similar to artisan, but it is not quite equal to artisan. You know, an artisan could respect them for their years of service, but could still override them in any sort of social political argument, so to speak. I envision once you hold a job, you still work in teaching it to lower tiers of your profession. Well, that's so hold true for retired grandmasters. Here's the thing: grandmasters don't retire. Grandmasters work till death. Just side question: what does society think of fathers who put zero effort into raising their children? What do we mean by the burden of being the best? Exactly. So it's like, yes, you're the most respected in society, but you don't get to retire. But the other thing is, being a grandmaster, you get to choose what you want to work on. It's not like, oh, someone needs this their scythe fixed. Like if you're a blacksmith, right? It's like you don't have to fix scythes. You can work on things you actually have a passion for. Like let's say you have a passion for making swords, so you can choose to only work on swords. You know. What do we mean, Yuki, by zero effort? Do we mean they completely ignore their children and only go to work, like they never see them? Or do they like still have to provide for their families, like with paying for food and things like that? So what I would say probably this society would be so it depends on what happens with your child. So you can be, I guess they just provide finances. Exactly. Since you're the most respected, you can turn down people with less status. Exactly. You're like, no, I'm not doing what you want. F you, you know. Although, what would that mean for the farmer class? The farmer class, they're probably kind of screwed. They have to just grow the same shit no matter what. Oh, that sucks. It sucks. Being so I would assume that fathers are expected to take their children on as apprentices if the child cannot become an apprentice to someone else. What is the world going to be used for, by the way? Probably for my future tabletop gaming. Heck yeah. Speaking realistically, have a farmer grow only one type of crop spells disaster for their fields. Crop rotation is pretty popular. No, sorry. What I mean is farmers can't really pick and choose what they want to grow. You know what I mean? Like they can't just be like, I don't want to grow wheat right now. I'm going to grow magic rocks. I don't know. Just fantasy world. Let's say they can grow magic rocks. Sure. Right? They can't choose those things because the society needs food and therefore they need food. You know, government demands turnips. There we go. Yep. CC Bob said it in words that I like that. Government demands turnips. Give us turnip, farmer man. Would there be village daycare ran by a group of retired persons from some profession? Maybe healers or something that would care for children to the age of 10 when they move to initiate status? Well, in my soul, I would like there to be a daycare. My brain says there probably wouldn't be. Because everybody needs to fend for themselves, so they would kind of force children to fend for themselves. I guess maybe there could be like a coalition of mothers. They work together as like a daycare sort of thing. Because again, being a mother is like a job in of itself in this society. So there would probably be like, it would probably be kind of like lions, where the females all work together to take care of the children. Damn, we're cooking super hard right now, by the way. We didn't even finish the masterclass. We're like, screw the masterclass. Let's just say, well-known, has lots of status and money, but hard to reach. Time is split between constant work and teaching. Teaching. Let's put that there for now as a question. They were the neighborhood mom mafia, the momfia. Oi, you didn't turn in your amount of diapers this month. What's going on? You still have child? Not sure why they're Russian, but let's go with it. Doing a masterclass, does the Grandmaster have to confer that? Ooh, interesting. All must be apprentice to a Grandmaster. So to be a master class, you have to be you're like the highest level of apprentice, basically. I like that idea. Like only a grandmaster. So if they don't want you to apprentice them, reach this status, no matter your skill, money, or current status. Dang it! Oh, I forgot the end. I thought I wrote it. That screams corruption possibilities. Exactly. I like that because that can introduce issues where an artisan wants to move to master, but is a fan of the grandmaster and has to find a way to move up. Exactly. There we go. I like how I just called it old people. Old people. Let's write this a little bit nicer. Those who are a Baneri. Baneri. What is that under? What is trigger fire under on here? Technically called it old P.O. Popal. Old Popal. Yes, the Postals from Legend of Zelda. All right, gonna move this up here. Men are expected to work and raise themselves in their profession. Women can choose either to be the matron class or gain a profession. We'll call it the matron class. Mothers are of the matron class. The titles of classes professional, apprentice, and in professional should be field. What? Big fans of Edgar Allan. Yes, the Edgar Allan Popel. The Popels of society. A professional. What do you... I'm confused what you mean, CC Bob. By professional, apprentice, and in professional should be field. I'm confused. Sorry, the typos. No. She's spell checking. Oh. I'm sorry. I think you mean to say dumb checking me. Maybe they spell it weird in this world. Next time, by the way, just to make it clear for me, you can always just say spell check and then colon and then put the words so that way I know what you're saying right like instantly. Professional should be field. I'm not sure what you mean by professional should be field. That's the part that confuses me most. By the time we're done, we'll be professional speller. True. Yeah, just remember, since I have ADHD and I my reading comprehension is not terrible. It's just sometimes I'm like lagging. Farther in the line, start your own business in your... Oh, got it. See, this is why book writers have editors. Actually has a lot of typos. Your business field. I should say you can now start your own business in your field. I'm just going to copy and paste what you wrote. That'll make it a little bit easier. All right, okay, so I think we got this. So, let's see, they live up to 60 so long as they stay on the mesa. Because what we said is that everything off the mesa is super dangerous. People generally have children around 20. We never answered Yuki's question about abandoning fathers. Or fathers who abandon. Let's move this down a couple lines. I feel like the matron class would not let that slide. What? You can send me a spreadsheet and I'll spell check for you. What would the matron class not let slide? You can always do that, sure. If you're willing to spend the time off stream. Your own free time. Abandoning fathers. Considering the fact that there is a whole class. We actually surprisingly gave women a lot of power for such a fantasy world. Like if there's a mafia of mothers. True, that would make sense. The question is, are women below men in this society? I feel like since the matron class is skilled workers, maybe we actually raise them 1 inch higher. Let's put them at professional. Right. Because this gives them a little bit of power over the lower classes, but not so much to where like the artisans and masters and... So I feel like if you're an artisan or you're a master or grandmaster, you would probably be able to abandon your kids if you really didn't care. Because the matron class wouldn't really have any power over you. But if you're professional or lower, they would be able to kind of like come together and kind of and do something to stop you if you did something they liked, right? I like that they can start their own business. So do I. They would come down on fathers that abandon children unless that father is an artisan or higher. Then they may not like it, but can't do it. Exactly. You guys are on this. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, this is... I hate that this is going off into another cell, but whatever. I'm gonna move this up 1 cell. I don't like empty cells. It bugs me. I like moving these over to another cell. And I'll just move that out there. Yeah, most people probably stop their social client at artisan. As early as 30 years old, you can now start your own business in your field. Or undercut competition. You are knowledgeable enough in your profession. I'm going to put skilled to make this smaller. And you're originally known by higher professions. Let's move the cell over just a bit. You now have more ability to rise up based purely on skill or yeah, let's just say purely based on No, let's not say finances. The first true rank where you've been learning the early stages of your profession for around 16. Initiate lowest ranked in the role of all initiate. Of all. Lowest ranked of all. Regardless of profession. Here, regardless of profession, these are the lowest class. No class, these are children who have not found a profession and are given some freedom. Let's write this over here. Oops. Sorry, I'm ignoring chat. Just giving some. Given some freedom to look. Those without jobs who are not of old age or children, seen as subhuman, 18 to 60. Let's see. Skilled or craftiness? I like that, craftiness. Not draftiness. No buying your way up. Can't buy your way up, but maybe you can do some trickery. Get rid of these are. It should fit. Oh, Slime Rancher. This is a good song. I'm just making sure everything is... mothers of the matron class, but are stuck in professional. We don't need to say class. We know what we're talking about. Work till death. But can choose their jobs. Must be apprenticed to a grandmaster. If you, we're going to write you just to. Do not find one who wishes to teach you. You cannot reach this status, no matter your skill, money, or current status in the community. Especially if you're ranking up, depends on high rank, you can maybe blackmail a promotion out of them. Mix. Let me write about the matron class that we said earlier. Has power over men of most classes. We'll say that the spiritual religious class. A Cryogonal appeared. BRB and 130 ad time. Oh, there's ads right now. Of they have power as a group. Let's say the matrons have power as a group. Very against men who abandon their children. Men are expected to take their children on as apprentice if they don't find someone else to do so by 16 years of age. Men who reach master or grandmaster can their families with no repercussions. The mother have power via the mom union. The mom union. Well, actually, I think this would be a good idea. What would be the name of the mom union? That's the orange. Getting lost in the sauce. Look at all this stuff we've written, chat. Look at... Can we? There we go. Look at this. Holy... I feel like this is more detailed than what was Dragon Song, but maybe not. I need mothers against deadbeat dads. I feel like that's a little too modern of a name. I like it. It's entertaining, but it's a little too modern. What if we called them like? Like give it like a not a tribal name, so to speak, but like a name sounding kind of like their own tribe. You know, like what is the Game of Thrones? What is the name of the group mothers in the Dothraki? Like the Dosh Kalin, like these, something like this, right? Ruling group of Dothraki social hierarchy, specifically widows who preside over the holy city, something like that. The Almatra. Let me look up real quick. What is a country in the desert in our real world? Somebody give me like some like I like the Almatra. I'll put that as a Saudi Arabia. Okay. What is the language of Saudi Arabia? Arabic. Okay. English to mother leader. The Zaima. Ulcissor is Latin for revenge. Okay, I'm gonna write some of these down. Let me... Let's see, Turkish. Paste. This won't let me copy paste this. Okay, so A-N-N-E-L-I. Is that I? A-N-N-E-I. Yeah. What about mother group? That's why I use Almatra. Al is a common prefix for Arabic things. Oh, no idea what mother is in Arabic though. There is Umu. Mother coalition. Okay. Looking at Turkey, it's not really a desert area as much as a mountainous one. It's fair. That's fair. I was just looking at... This is how I like to come up with names, because then you mix a bunch of different cultures. We mix a bunch of different cultures, right? Go U.S. geography education. But anyways, this is, I want to try and merge as many cultures to kind of come up with a word. That way it's one, unique, and two, it uses multiple cultures instead of one. I like the all part. I like the all part a lot. Adalbo said, Atlef alum. How about the all score? All score? The US is a pretty big ass desert in the southwest. True, but we mostly just speak English, so I don't really know if there'd be a special language in there. So far, I think. Let's see. This sounds almost like a Pokemon. Alice score. Go. Use. Mach punch. Hey, you're forgetting the indigenous tribes, like the Navajo. It's a good point. For... Is it just chief? No, it's not. They're not Ani. Okay. And then what would be it for mother? Shima. Okay. What about the Alshma? Or the Alshima? Not Alshima? My brain, this is my English brain speaking. But seeing the not, while I know what it is, the na'at. Oh, when I say na'at, it sounds a little bit better. The same thing though. Not all Shima. Yeah. Exactly. It's that English brain. It's the way our different brains work when we see non-native languages. Or non-fluent languages, I should say. What if we say whatever our word means, whatever our word is, it translates to Great Union. The Great Union of Mothers. Or the Great Matron Union. I like the simplicity of Alskazor, Alshima. What are we thinking, Yuki? Latin. Magna Matron Unionum. That's a bit long, if I do say so myself, CC Bob. Just a schmidgen. Where's the Roman desert? Oh, cheese and crackers. I think we've looked at enough deserts so far, guys. It's long and a bit too obvious. Yeah, that's my thought too. Although I like the creativity. I will say that. Regardless of whether I use it, I like the creativity. I like those juices. I like them juices flowing. In Persian, great matron union translates to something I can't read. Cool. I'm kind of liking the Al-Shima. But what was I think I like Al-Shima the most. Here, chat, what are the ones CC Bob, Yuki, Toka, what are the top 3 that you guys like? Each one of you can give me 3 that you like. I like Al-Shima sounds too. I like the Al-Shima. I like the Al-Score. And there was one that someone else typed that I really liked. Maori. Actually, you know, I kind of agree. The Na'at Al-Shima. I like this one too. Okay. So these are the 3 I like. I feel like CC Bob and I are just on the same page with this. So let's begin a poll. And this way I can go on a pee break because I gotta go pee. And we're gonna do a vote. Let's do. And we'll be back after these messages because I really have to pee. Okay, it looks like everyone wants to go with Natal Shima. Naat al Shima. I'm going to write this as 2. Or I'll put a... There we go. Shima, Shimad. Oh my God, Yuki, you're breaking the box there, adding a lot of green. I use green to signify what questions have been answered, and orange for what questions haven't been answered, and then red is usually early on, like questions that we're not sure if we want to answer. So anything that's in orange is an unanswered question. Everything that's in green is something I want to lock in. Green is good. Yes, green is good. Yes. All right. So we got about... Let's see, it's 5 o'clock. I have to end by 7. There's a new game I want to try and show. Yeah, I forgot to lock this in. Let's put these here. We got quite a bit done. Exactly my thoughts. I think we might even finish some of this other stuff. Oh yeah, I wanted to answer this question. Do people only live on top of the mesa, or do they live inside? You know, like maybe the neophytes or lower class are forced to live inside. Oh, we also wanted to answer what jobs or what. Let's see. I'll put. I'm gonna move this over here. What status is each job? And we'll put that in orange. Orangi. The upper class would live inside, so they have shade. Oh, interesting. Interesting. The upper class is actually lower. That's kind of like a totem pole. So this is a fun fact about Native American totem poles. So everybody always is like, oh, you're low on the totem pole. And that's like a phrase we say a lot in the US. And it's usually used as like, oh, you're lower in status. But a lot of Native American tribes actually believe the closer you were to the earth, the higher your status was. So being lower on the totem pole actually made you higher status. You can't go inside unless you're a mother or one of the master class. It's where the society holds higher meetings. Okay, we answered this one, so I'm just going to delete it. Basic social status. A midpoint. Lower class must live on top or outside on the foot of the mesa where the sun and wind where there is little to no protection from the sun and wind. Let's see, matrons. Are we saying only masterclass, or do we say artisan as well? Matrons. What do we want to call the professor class, by the way? Matrons. We're going to say professors for now. Masters. Master. And sages can live inside the mesa. It is coolest. The safest. Scholar class. Ooh, I like scholar. I feel like the healthcare would be inside, thus helping those pregnant. Healer class. We'll just say healer because scholar class. Not sure why I didn't. I'm gonna to actually move this over here. Matron, scholar, masters, healers. Is Navajo for teacher for something? So something like that, maybe. They think it's the safest, but is it really? I'll write that here. And then that's where DMs can change what they want. Do they want to put like evil monsters and caves and stuff? I want to cut this, so let's... And there's no other exits than to the surface. There's the hidden danger of this. The primordial. The heart of the primordial. So this is something we wrote last time, is that inside the mesa there's a magic orb. It is the heart of a slain. I miswrote slain. Someone correct my spelling on that. I'm gonna move these up so they're not connected. There's a magic orb of a slain. Thank you. I knew it was spelled. Primordial water deity. It constantly produces fresh, clean water, which actually has slight healing benefits. And the orb is there because from a battle between the gods and the primordials. This is actually a prison to keep this specific primordial from resurrecting. Did I mess with deity? Oh, I put the I before the E. I before E. No, thank you, Adalbos. I figured it out. Resurrecting. Okay, so let's decide what is the highest jobs. So obviously sages are going to be one of the highest. So we'll put sage of the sand. Sage, do we want to say, let's say attendance. Let's say sage attendance. You know, there can only be one sage of the sand, but they have multiple followers in attendance. I'm going to put royalty in question mark if we want a royalty. Then what other kind of jobs can we have? I'm just going to write some down. Farmers, smiths, merchants, wanderers, just so that way we can clarify. Wanderers, people who search for nowhere. Builders, healers, Pokemon trainers. I think all jobs are teachers of their job. Chefs, thank you. Bankers. Yeah, well, teachers is the scholar class. We already said. Where did we write that? I'm gonna go with scholar. I like scholar. So we already have a teacher class. That's a scholar class. Only the olders. Oh, nice. You caught the Teddy Ursa. Let me think. What else would there be? Farmers? What would they farm in this land? What can you farm on a desert mesa? Okay, that doesn't tell me. Wine, okay. Barley and wheat. Okay. So it looks like grains. Amounts of graze for cattle. Okay. Cactuses. Cacti. Animal handlers. Ooh. Herders. Makes sense. Shepherds. That makes sense. There'd be shepherds. Would there be any type of performers, writers? Ooh. There would definitely be performers. Dancers. Let's just put performers as all one. Performers. Okay. No, these are called shepherds. How tilted are you guys when you see me misspelled? You still have farmers twice, I do. No, I don't. What are you talking about? This misspelling doesn't bother you? Darn it. Its own agriculture different from the hot desert below. Oh, okay. Climate plays a big part. It's hard to grow some crops if the temperature is too high. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a small itch for me. Comment about guards. I did not. I'll write that down now. Depending on the decision of their own force or religious force. We do actually have a question to answer for that. Over here. What is their law enforcement answer? Who or what do they answer to? What is the law enforcement like? But we can have this here for now. Looks we're receiving that questionino. Out of water in this bottle. Good thing I don't have a second one. They're both empty. No, I should have got some during the break. Okay, I'll it's Italian. Fragile must be Italian. That checks out. Commander, 8-man shepherd is the full title, right? Commander, shepherd, leader of the Ape Alliance fleet vessel, Normandy, searcher of the Golden Banana. That's the full title. What if it's an elite ninja security force made up of 5 ninja nations? Oh yeah, we could. Yeah, that makes sense. We could have one that's in they're in a forest, right? One that's in a desert. One that's in some mountains. One that's in near the water, right? And then another one that's like in sheer mountains that are like all the way up in the clouds. They could be called like let's say the Hidden Cloud Village, right? You know, news coalition of some kind, and they're all led by some kind of a shadow. Yeah. Oh, that makes it. Yeah. Well, what's the Japanese word for shadow? I see what you're doing there, Adelvos. I see what you're doing. A news coalition. I feel like news in this era would be mostly word of mouth. I don't know why, but that's just what my brain is thinking. Is literacy common? Probably not, actually. Now that I think about it, literacy probably isn't common because of the fact that most of their history is only known by one person. Right? So what would there be to read or write? And if most entertainment would be performers, you wouldn't have like novels and things. I feel like the sage and religious groups might hoard written knowledge. Exactly. Yeah, that's my thought, right? What this? Alberto, welcome. This is we creating world for D&D and other tabletop RPGs. We work on it together. Not sure why I become Italian. Now I want some pasta. If older people teach kids and those people at a high status, there might be literacy. Maybe like grandmasters. Well, that would be weird. But how would they read erotica if they're illiterate? A tragedy indeed. Oh, you got a good point there, Yuki. You got a good point. You become Italian because you were answering my questiono. Yes, that explains it. Thank you very much, Adelbos. That reminds me, every time I do an Italian accent, it always reminds me of Sly Cooper 3, where the Sly's actor couldn't do an Italian accent, but he had to pretend as a character to be an Italian mafia guardsman. And he's doing this really bad Italian accent, and Bentley's just like, that is probably the worst Italian accent I have ever heard, and somehow they fell for it. These people are not very bright. And then literally the next one is like, you ever had my mama's pasta sauce? It's so good. I want to one day be buried in my mother's pasta sauce. That is how good it is. And it's like, so what did the guard say? He had something about being buried in pasta sauce? Well, that's strange. Braille erotica. I feel like grandmasters wouldn't waste their time with their apprentices by teaching them to read and write. Hey, you know what? Let's say everybody's illiterate now. Or not everybody. Most people. Hey, did we ever answer this? I feel like we didn't answer some of these. Most people can not read. Pictures it is, true. So we just stole the ability to read from the people. High five. Okay, so let's say, how are we going to rank these? We'll just rank them top to bottom. Who do we think? We obviously already said, we already have the matron ranking. They're like respected, but they're not high up. It's, you know. Sages and sage attendants are going to be at the top. Where are the Italian plumbers at? I'm actually, tonight, I might watch the Mario Brothers movie with Claire. That or Secret of Nim. We haven't decided which one. Would chefs do the butchering as well? Ooh. I would feel like in a place with limited resources, they would kind of be forced to. Yeah. I'm going to say chefs and butchers. Chef butchers. They butcher chefs. Wait a minute. Would there be merchants, or would each profession just sell their own wares? I feel like there would be a bazaar. I did put merchants, but we can always change that up. Bankers would probably go pretty high just because they have all the money. You know, they control the flow of money. So they would actually... I could see the bazaar where the crafters would allow a merchant to sell their goods for a percentage, thus allowing them to spend more time crafting. I like that idea. Yeah, the merchants are like middlemen. So merchants probably have... They probably have some... Their status is probably somewhere in the middle. Similar to the bankers where they control the money, they control the flow of produce and goods and services. I think healers would be high. Yeah, let's put healers high. It's real dangerous in the desert, so healers would probably go pretty high somewhere. Healers would possibly be higher. Let's put healers above bankers and merchants because they're more desired. And you can't really sell the service of a healer through a merchant, you know? Now, how I think guards would probably be. Can you? There we go. Guards would probably be somewhere under merchants and bankers. I think that I would think it might be much like things where historically in our world doctors are revered, farmers are lower skilled, traders are needed but not necessarily high on the social status. It's probably true. The big question is wanderers. Where would wanderers be? Builders, chiefs would be about the same. Okay. So let's put smith and builders. There we go. Smiths and builders, we'll say, are on the same level. Farmers and shepherds would probably be on the same level. Chefs would be slightly higher than farmers and shepherds. Performers, not sure where we would put performers. Oh, a hat beanie, wow. Honors fully depend on individuals' belief in the nowhere. I don't know. I feel like in the desert, the people who produce sustenance would be pretty respected. Okay. Wanderers would have no status within the town itself, but would be valued for the trade they bring. So they would be in their... Ooh, interesting. They'd be like their own kind of separate... They're outside the social hierarchy. So they don't really answer to anyone, but they also don't have any power over anyone. Okay. I kind of like that. Performers probably above smiths and builders. Yuki says that in a desert, sustenance providers would be pretty high. They would probably be pretty important. Let's see. How revered were farmers in ancient Egypt? The farming practices allowed staple food supply. Okay. What was the social status? I'm trying to get a simple, quick one. Egypt was an agricultural society, so majority of the population lived as peasant farmers. They enjoyed little social status and still often had some reliance on wealthier landowners or the state government. So yeah, it looks like, Yuki, it looks like even in a desert, farmers are seen as like, nothing. Serfs lived on the land they worked and performed all manner of tasks on medieval manners, including farming, caring for livestock, milling, weaving, brewing beer, and all the manner of menial labor. They also had to get permission to marry and leave the manor, and were answerable to their lord for any wrongdoing. That's true, but I feel like in any society, performers are quite heralded. Let's put guards and performers on the same level. And then smiths and builders. So people who actually... Chefs and butchers. And I'll just say... Usually... Same... In these societies, we also had people who were high status because they were born into it and provide nothing of value. That's a good point. It is performing the same functions. But can you become a master farmer? That's a good, yeah, so those are two good points. One, that there people who just own land? And two, can you become a master farmer? That would raise your status among other farmers, but you would still be a farmer. In a society where status is in large part tied to what you produce for society, food providers ought to be more important. Then let's put farmers and shepherds in that case with bankers. They're with merchants. So bankers and healers still go above them because people who control the money just in general are able to have very good social status. That is part of the tier system as we designed it. I almost feel like bankers should be towards the bottom. Ooh, interesting. A society where the people who hold all the money are at the bottom. That's unique. I like that. That would make this a very unique society. And then wanderers, we'll just say... outside the class system. And then adventurers, because we'll be playing a TTRPG, so the players would be adventurers. They just hold on to the money. Do people have a lot of currency, or do they trade goods for other goods? Probably a little bit of both. There's probably a bit of a barter system, but there is still money. Like, money is still valued, but because of the fact that goods and services are goods are hard to come by, trading goods is still, like, the goods still have a value. You know, the reason why bartering doesn't work in a modern society is because of the fact that the value of a tennis ball is not equal to the value of a sandwich unless the person who has the sandwich desires the tennis ball. Just to use an example. But in a society where all you have are sandwiches and tools, the value of a sandwich and a tool are going to be pretty equal. Money is actually used more as a currency for time, less for a currency of product. It's more a currency to show your service. And that's what makes it so equally valuable to other stuff, is like how much of your time is equal to the value of X, Y, and Z. So chefs and butchers might actually be I feel like if higher class people... Actually, I have a smiths, builders, miners. Because there are people who live inside the mesa, right? So digging into the mesa would be a very valuable trade. I feel like... And we did say this place is actually pretty dangerous. So guards might actually be higher than merchants and farmers. Builders might actually be seen as a lower class. You know, they work in the dirt. They work with their hands a lot. How do you start a world? Like, what are things you consider to prompt these questions in detail? So the way I do it is I have, give me 1 second. I have this resource I got from a Kickstarter. You can find the website. It's called Deck of it's called the Story Engine. It's this box here. I actually have two. There's one where it's just the Story Engine, which is helping you to create story ideas, and then this is the Deck of Worlds, which is a bunch of different cards that let you come up with different ideas in the world. And we started off with just what were the original questions? It was like the name of the place was the city on the road to nowhere, built from derelict caravans, some sort of water engineering, the death of a recent person in society. And then we took those and expanded from them. Like one of the things we just came up with is like their religion is called the Hand of Ethmet. And they're like, and it's like, is it okay for people to wear gems because gems come from the earth and therefore belong to Ethmet, or part of the body? So like people don't wear gems in this society. Aren't you even reading that as Ethernet this whole time? Yeah. One day I might make these into like PDFs for people to make it actually legible. Oh, that's cool. I know what CC's next purchase will be. I definitely would look into it. He has a new one coming out that I've already ordered the Kickstarter for. It's the Deck of Lore, I believe is what it's called. I'm excited to open that one up. I actually got a different Kickstarter that I put in 2 years ago that just came back. It's called the Reckless Deck Psyche. It's similar to that, but it's for coming up with the psychology of a character. I looked and it's like $40. Yeah, they're not cheap, but they're not like super expensive. But on my wish list for sure. It's very good for starting prompts. And I've had these for a long time and I thought, let's make it into a thing we do on Twitch. And we just happen to end up doing it every Friday. So I was like, Fantasy Fridays. And so that's how we have this segment here now. I really got to get someone to help me edit this to make videos that I can put on YouTube so we can get more minds in here. So let's see. Sage of the Sand, highest ranked. Healers, then guards and performers, merchants, farmers, and shepherds. We put bankers at the bottom, which is probably the most unique thing in all of history, I want to say. People with the money have the lowest rank. Smiths, builders, and miners. Again, low ranking. Generally, builders and smiths are high rank, but miners, it makes sense. Miners are generally a low social class job because it's all about brute force. Or not, it's a very menial labor task. Physical labor task. Chefs and butchers, we put them below farmers and shepherds. I guess they do cook the food, so they are like, Trying to create a world as well, and I've been focusing on locations and a few background stories. Possibly like formation of a current society, but I have so few details compared to this. Well, it also helps that we do it with the chat. Like, I have thought about half of these ideas, and the chat helped me change or fix the other half and expand them. Like, I would not have had this alone if I was thinking about it. I would not have thought about, like, what is it like to be a woman in the society? Because I am not a woman. I am not one of the women of the world, believe it or not. So I don't think in those terms. And because I forget who it was, but someone in the chat today asked me about it, and I was like, oh, what would it be like for mothers? And then I didn't want it to be like, I didn't want it to be like normal history, which we all know. This, you know, it's not that it's boring. It's just, it's so obvious. I wanted to kind of make it unique. So I was like, oh, well, what about like mothers being their own class? Like they get some power in society, but they can't really go up or down. Like that would both be that would be both a gift and a curse at the same time, right? I like the mother mafia. Exactly. See, I came up with that because of you guys. I was just like, class system. Let's, like, a class system sounds interesting. I think our other one didn't even have a class system. Like, what was it? Where is it? Dragon Song. We like never wrote a class system, I don't think. A Spiro. Yeah, we didn't have a we created a night and day system because it's inside a statue. And we had these factions, but we didn't have a class system or anything. We just had jobs. Wait, where were the jobs? Yeah, we had like shroom harvesters. I think it was actually over here. Where is it? We had shroom harvesters, we had hunters, we had people who regulate their special money that they have. The useless class, that'd be the people that don't pick up the job. Exactly. Yeah, the neophytes. Tech dirt because they're societal drain. There might be a few or tiers to the classes, more like sage class, ruling class, working class, useless class. I was thinking that they were just like based on job is how they look at you. Kind of like how to, like in today's society, if you say you're a lawyer, it's like, oh, you make a lot of money, you have a really good profession, you're very intelligent. And then if you say you're a garbage man, it's like, oh, okay, so, you know, we don't look down on garbage people, but we don't make shows about garbage men like we do about lawyers. You know what I mean? I was just pointing out that a lot of these jobs might be on the same level. Ooh, you got a good point there. I see. Okay. That's true. We do have like these three, these two. And then it would be a matter of how high you are climbed within that class. That would, yeah, of course. Of course, it would make sense like farmers and shepherds. It would make sense they'd be on like the same level. Actually, I might put merchants down one level. Merchants might be lower than farmers. Because again, like the bankers, they don't really produce a good. They help you find those who produce goods. And chefs and butchers don't produce a good. They just enhance the good that is produced. Guards are obviously seen high because they have to fight against any sort of creatures that come to attack. They sacrifice themselves first. Performers are high because you would need entertainment in a world like this. Merchants might be the same level as banker. I want to say merchant. I can see why you say that. My instinct is to say merchants are higher than banker because of the fact that they have, like, to be a merchant, you need to have an eye for the skills of other professions, right? Like, you have to see, like, this person is really good at what they do. So I can help. I disagree with bakers. They're pretty useful. Okay, we'll put that with farmers and shepherds. We'll say they're separate from the chef's class. Bakers are separate from chefs. Because you need to be able to bake to make wheat into bread. They're taking ingredients, incredible good, and actually making it consumable. Yeah, I'll put merchants on the same level as smiths then. But I still find it entertaining that the bankers would be the lowest class. Farmers, shepherds, bakers on the same class. Chefs, butchers, smiths, builders, miners on the next level. Farmers, shepherds, bakers on the same level. Chefs, butchers, smiths, builders, miners on the next level down. The only thing with that I see is that a chef and a baker both make edible foods from ingredients. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, then here's a question. Do we put all food production on one level? Or do we put chefs and bakers above farmers and shepherds? All food on the same level. One level. Okay. I still feel like guards would be higher, just because of the fact that, you know, you're sacrificing your life. Safety is important. Okay, so we have like the wanderers and adventurers, people who are outside the class system. We have the spiritual order, and because of their because of the fact that they're the spiritual leaders, they're immediately just given this highest position. Healers, because they're literally keeping people alive. It makes sense. They'd be important in all forms of society, whether you're giving birth, a small cut, you're in a battle. Guards and performers. Entertainment is very important in this very droll land where nobody can read or write, or very few people can. Guards makes a lot of sense. They would be sacrificing their lives against giant rocks. Rocks being spelled ROC. A rock is a giant bird, so that would be like one danger. Dragons, sand sharks, things like that. And then anybody who produces and creates food, they'd be the next most important. And then anybody who works with the land, who like mines, builds, they're slightly lower. And then the ones who are like the middlemen, they're a necessity, but they're not really appreciate it, and then money just isn't as important here. Bartering is still probably the main way of trade. Are police separate from guards? Ooh, that's a good question. That might also change if we decide there's no formal guard. I'm going to say there has to be a formal guard because of something we've put into the other one. Was we've said that there is an empire that is trying to take over. We haven't really expanded the empire much yet, but we have them. The higher on the list, the higher their status from profession. I'm going to put this in blue so it's separate. I could see there being a paladin order type thing where the sages have warriors that serve as the security force. A formal guard where that is their role. A militia state where every citizen is trained to be a guard if needed. Ooh. Interesting. Okay, so let's do two. There are two. Two types. One of law enforcement. Those who work for the sage. The sage. Two. Every member can be a part of the militia. That's three different possibilities. Back to work. No. The sage might as well be sage. The sage might as well be Sag since he's dead. True. Peppa hands. The guardians, the sage, are called the guardians of the sand. Wrong green. What do we wait? Who work for spell checks militia? Did I write militia? I knew there was an I there. I don't know why I put an A. I'm gonna law. I'm gonna go through this on my off time and separate all this so that way it's like not so jumbled up. Because you want to make it a bedisha. Oh no, not the singular brain cell. It's my turn with the cell. Please. Maul meaning bad. Oh, true. Like Darth Maul. Not what I... There we go. This I'll move over here. Oops. Thank you. Real quick, did we decide how the Sage of the Sand keeps the history? Or malevolent, or malnutrition, or Mallory? Mallory. Okay, we're gonna have 5 more minutes until our next break, and then we're gonna swap over to a new game. Not yet, at least since I've been here, lol. No one thought then it wouldn't be in books and such. Well, we did say that they hoard all the written books. Flabebe. Okay, I have to figure out where I have that playing from. Later. I would say he keeps it in his Sage Vault. Well, we said it's either oral hymns and so I think we wanted to mix it. Right? I think that was our original idea. That it's taught through oral hymns and songs, and also that there's a secret library that only he can access. Is the sand also keeps all the history by how is he the only one that can access it? By what means are others kept out? Because he is... Others are kept out through social status and his... what do we call them? Guardians of the Sand. Like, only he is allowed to access. I guess we could say that there's only one sage. That's a thing. If each sage has their own way of remembering the history, no one else could decipher it. As because with him dead, can others access it? Oh, we did say there was an artifact. Where was it? Wait, let me look. Red. Wait. The Azure Eye. There we go. He uses the Azure Eye. So we said earlier that there's the question basically is the access through magical means or physical means? I'd say there's a door. The Azure Eye is the only key to open the vault of the Ancients' door. There we go. So there's a stone door with a teardrop-shaped lock on the front, and the Azure, an eye-shaped lock on the front, and the Azure Eye is the only thing which can only be wielded by the Sage of the Sand. So he's the only one who can access it. There we go. He just somehow knows when she holds the eye for the first time. In that case, did he teach her how to use the eye before he was killed? We already decided this. When you become the Sage of the Sand, you actually get some mystical properties, and one of those mystical properties is your eyes become what did we say? Glassy red, I believe. Yeah, glassy red eyes. And they are said to reflect the soul of the Deshret itself. And so he can literally, it is believed by others, but in lore, he can literally see what is called the soul of the desert. And only those with the soul of the desert can be the Sage of the Sand. And only the Sage of the Sand can use the Azure Eye. Spell check itself. So yeah, so that's how. Damn, look at all this work we did. I'm gonna write up to GM. We actually only have a few questions left to answer. However, it is 6 o'clock. I only have about an hour left until dinner, and there's another game I want to show off and try on stream. It's a matter of whether or not the girl he chose was truly worthy, and if the other Sage groups prevent her. Exactly, and one of the things that we were even talking about this a while ago is one of the things that the players can do is they can meet all the factions that we're going to come up with, right? And each faction has their own person they want to put as the next Sage of the Sand. And then, of course, and you can influence who becomes the next Sage of the Sand, either through political means, through assassination, through trickery, through bribes. And it'll be up to the running GM to decide how those are decided. But the players can either pick the person who's supposed to be it or someone who isn't supposed to be it. And then based on what your table ends up doing, that's how it affects the nation in the future. This way there's still some flexibility. And it's not so like, this happens this way and this happens this way. I love that so much. Me too. Thank you, Adelbos. This is so cool. I know. I try to do this every Friday around 3 o'clock. Usually when it starts out, it's a little slow. But once we get into this nitty-gritty stuff and we get like 3 people in here, when it's just me and Yuki, it's so slow. We're both like, we like these ideas, but we don't want to be the only one coming up with them. So thank you. What a dope world. I know. And this is just one nation. This is just one nation. I want to have at least 5. There is one more thing. What do you think of these world names, guys? We haven't come up with a world name because I do want to make a like world anvil on the a world, because I have a world anvil account. Which of these names do you guys like most for the name of like just the world? We got Amundis, Amundisnia, Mundisnia, Dizamunda, Swatranswoy, Trunswain, Yirnim, Nitzwer, and Westromina. Westromina. Westromina? Yeah, when it's Z and we're always like, all right, chat, let's come up with this fun idea and spend 1 minute waiting. I must go into lurking, but I hope the rest of the stream is great. So far, this has been one of the best Fantasy Fridays ever. I'm gonna put these in the Discord. Or I like Trustwain and Dizamunda. All right, we'll put a 1. Pesky ads. Okay. I'm going to go. We're gonna actually end. Damn it. We're going in an ad break. I forgot to pause it. Yikers. Nitswear. Nitswear has a 1 as well. Go on an ad. Go on a break. What else did I want to say? Thank you all for joining us for Fantasy Fridays. That's the end of this week's Fantasy Fridays. If you want to join us next week, if you are just watching the VOD, I hope to see you next time. Wait, let me start that over. That's the end of this week's Fantasy Fridays. Thank you all for joining me. It has been so much fun. If you have any ideas or opinions you want to say about the world, comment down below. I will read them. I appreciate them so much. If you have any ideas of your own, you can bring them either on Discord, or you can join us next week when we go live on Friday what's next week? Friday the 16th. I hope to see you all there. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy. Thank you all for joining us. Chatting is the best thing you can do, but just watching is also amazing. I love all of you guys lurking, all of you guys watching the VODs. It means so much. It really warms my heart seeing all that. And remember, stay safe, stay smart, stay healthy. Be thankful for everything and everyone in your life. And the #1 rule here in the Dragon's Den: don't believe in yourself. Believe in me, who believes in you.